Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to go through a series of videos starting with this one where I share my full shoe care routine. It's going to go through both how to care for your normal calfskin shoe like this, as well as the process to care for Shell Cordovan like this specific boot. I'm going to go through the steps for cleaning and conditioning, which is going to be the first video, of course, and we'll go through each of those sequential steps for both calf and shell cleaning conditioning using cream polish, paste, or wax polish, and then finishing with the mirror shine or the high shine. And for Shell Cordovan, we will finish with how to use a sleeking bone or a polishing bone like this. We're going to start with the cleaning and conditioning. We're going to do both shell and calf together because it's a very similar process how you do it. Then we'll let that dry and we'll pick up with the next video after that. Let's get started with the cleaning and conditioning and we'll go from there. All right, perfect. So we're going to start with this pair from Joe Works Shoemaker to have the calfskin example. And we're just going to clean this entire shoe off. This is a new pair of pre-owned shoes that I got from Mr. Renworks. And this has kind of been sitting around for a while. So I think this is a great example to use. That's very classic. It's going to be a very simple and common colorway that I think a lot of viewers will have a similar color to. So I think that'll provide a great baseline. And then for the Shell Cordovan, we'll use this pair of dark brown Shell Cordovan boots. And I think, again, that'll make for a great example and a great color palette to demonstrate on, because you can really kind of see some of the highs and lows in the wear today, and you'll be able to get a great comparison of that towards the end. For our products today, we are going to use the cleaner conditioner on the calfskin, and we're going to use the neutral cream polish on the Shell Cordovan as a cleaner, and that way you can see how each of these products are used for cleaning purposes. These are brand new products. So here is the neutral cream. Now, for me, this is one of the most versatile products that you can really have or use, because it can be a cleaner, it can be a conditioner, and when you use it as a cleaner, it provides a lot of the same benefits and techniques that you get from the cleaner conditioner, except it's a much more gentle product. Now here is the cleaner conditioner. A lot of the steps that I'm going to cover in this video, as well as subsequent videos, I'm going to follow kind of the general rule of thumb for the steps, because I think that's going to be what's applied more often than not. Now for getting started, always want to brush the shoe off. Now this is just a goat hair brush. You can also use a horsehair brush. So I'll kind of demonstrate with both, but again, this is just to remove the dust and the dirt before applying any product. Grab the flannel cloth or the cotton cloth here. And obviously this is brand new, but if you are using a cloth that you've already used a few times, make sure, even though you're cleaning, that you're still grabbing a part of the cloth that is clean, so that you're not, swirling around dirt on the shoe as you're trying to clean it. This is about, honestly, all that you're really going to need to use for a cleaning like this. So just make sure that you always kind of take that approach of starting with less. And if you need to add more, you can always do that, as you go through the process, but you cannot remove product that you've applied. As I finish up here on the right shoe, one thing that you'll notice is you may get a little remnants of wax or paste polish throughout the toe or the heel, and that's completely normal, because it's just hard sometimes to see that as the shoe is wet. So I'm going to jump into cleaning off the left shoe, and just like I had mentioned earlier, definitely want to move to a clean part of the cloth. All right, so again, you want to grab a very little amount here, and I'm going to start in the back and work my way around the shoe. All right, so I think we've got a good start on the calfskin here. I'm just going to sit that down. So I'm starting with shell from this perspective so that I can kind of give you a frame of reference for the rolls. For a pair of shoes like this that has fully lasted shoe trees, the rolls are not going to look very significant when the shoe trees are in, but that does not mean that they aren't there. So that's what it looks like to start. I'll insert the shoe tree and then I'll clean off one of these with the neutral cream so that we can also see the initial cleaning step for Shell Cordovan. We'll use the neutral cream on the right boot after we do a gentle brushing. The reason that I'm using the neutral cream is just because it is a gentler alternative to the cleaner conditioner. This will give you two options to choose from. All right, so here you go. You got a little bit of neutral cream that you can see on the cloth here. So we're just going to continue using light to medium pressure across the entire boot, and this will help us to remove and clean that surface of the shell, and this will give us a very good base to start with. Now also I'll add, like, you definitely can use cleaner conditioner on Shell Cordovan. I'm using this just to provide an alternative if you want to have an option that is a little gentler, still as effective as the cleaner conditioner, yet a little gentler on the leather, so it's something that you can do a little more often without worrying about overdoing it. So I'll set that one off to the side and I'll brush this one off, and then we'll clean this with the neutral cream. Now that we finished with the cleaning step, we're going to move into the conditioning step specifically for the pair of calfskin shoes. The Shell Cordovan we'll leave and let this sit, and then we'll move into its own video series because there are some unique aspects of shell care, and I think it'll just be a little cleaner and a little easier to follow if we kind of break it out after this. So now I'm going to pull the calfskin shoes back in, and I'm going to brush these off, and then I'm going to apply the cleaner conditioner just with my fingertip, and that will allow it to actually absorb the conditioning properties of this product. This conditioning step is something you may or may not want to do. It really depends on the condition, no pun intended, of your leather. If it's a leather that hasn't been cared for in a while, or it just has a drier feel to it, you would definitely want to do this. If it's one that has kind of seen regular wear, regular use, and regular care, you can kind of skip this extra conditioning step and just use the pigmented cream polish that we'll touch on in the next video. We're going to let these sit for at least an hour. You can definitely get away with letting it sit or letting it dry in a shorter time frame. It really will go back to something I've mentioned a few times in previous videos, which is you want to not just follow the clock, but you want to follow the touch and feel of the leather. If it's still tacky and it's still kind of leaving fingerprints on the surface of the leather, it's still wet. You need to let it dry longer. If you touch it after 5 or 10 minutes and it's already dry, then you can kind of proceed to the next step. It's something that's a much more practical concept. You definitely want to touch, feel, and get used to how to tell whether or not you're able to move to the next step. A final note I'll leave you with is if you're going for a very minimalist care, you could really stop at this point, but hang out for the next video and I'll talk about that as we get into what you should do after this. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you next time.